The Golden Horde was a khanate that formed at the fragmentation of the Mongol Empire after 1259. In the decades before the breakaway, the Mongols had sacked many Rus territories, one of them being the Principality of Kiev. In order to retain sovereignty and peace, much like how the Anglo-Saxons appeased the Vikings, a regular tribute of wealth was donated to the Mongols. This is now where our reliable sources will come in to explain the truth of the Lithuanians' control over Kiev, and the debt they inherited. It appears that in 1331, Prince Fyodor of Kiev was still paying tribute to the Horde. This went against the Lithuanians' belief of their self-righteous autonomy, and cutting a peace deal with the Catholics was one thing, but living in a state of servitude for land that they saw as theirs was another. By 1359, Gediminas had been dead for nearly 2 decades, and his son Algirdas was now the king of the Lithuanians. In this year, the Khan of the Golden Horde, Berdy Beg, had also died. Algirdas had witnessed from the sidelines the bloody disputes of the Khanate to choose a successor. Using the political turmoil to his advantage, it was time for him to secure his reign over the Principality of Kiev. Around 3 years later, as the Horde was consumed by civil wars, he made his first move. Marching between Dnieper and the southern Bug, it was the Principality of Chernigov that would fall first to the marching army, capturing Bryansk, where Stanislav had found refuge from Algirdas' father just decades before. Their attention was then on Perestlavl, another former ally of the deposed king of Kiev. Too busy fighting a war against the new Tsar, no resistance could make it home in time, and several territories would fall to Lithuania. Three war chiefs of the Podolia region formed from the ruins of the Golden Horde and assembled to defend Kiev. They met at the modern-day Torovitsia, known as Sinivodi at the time, which means blue waters. According to the 16th century historian Maciej Strykowski, Algirdas formed his army into 6 groups, placed in a semicircle for the advance. When the defenders hurled arrows at the spear-wielding Lithuanians, it had little effect to slow their movement. They caught up to the war chiefs and hammered on the front lines to break their formation. At the same time, a volley of crossbow bolts landed either side of the defenders, and quickly a disorganized retreat had broken out. With this victory, most of modern-day Ukraine was now decisively a part of Lithuania. This included Podolia and Dnipro. Algirdas left his son Vladimir in charge of Kiev, and his father's plans of securing the lands between the Baltic Sea and the Black Sea had finally been realized. It's a period of history often neglected, as the Lithuanians were now perhaps the most powerful kingdom in Europe. However, they now had a new neighbour, the Grand Duchy of Moscow, and there was little time to lay the swords down and rest with a new rival knocking at the door. We'll get into that very soon.